The night was quiet on the edge of a forgotten desert world. Cold winds carried fine silver dust across the empty land. Stars above burned like sharp eyes, watching from the dark sky. In this lonely place, a single human walked, searching for shelter. His name was Daniel, a traveler who had lost his path among alien worlds. Daniel had been walking for hours when he noticed a faint glow in the distance. It was not the light of fire, nor the shine of metal. It was soft, golden, and alive, like a heartbeat calling from deep underground. His tired legs moved faster, driven by a strange pull he could not explain. At the base of a black mountain, he found the source. A narrow crack opened in the stone, glowing with that golden light. The air near it hummed like music, whispering in a language he did not know. Daniel's heart pounded. He felt both fear and wonder. Without thinking twice, he stepped inside. The cave swallowed him in silence. Walls glimmered as if tiny stars were trapped in crystal stone. The deeper he went, the stronger the light became. Soon he entered a wide chamber, and there, floating above a silver pool, was a figure. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. A woman, tall and graceful, her skin glowing with a soft blue light. Her hair moved like strands of liquid silver, flowing even though there was no wind. Her eyes burned like twin suns filled with ancient secrets. She wore robes that shimmered as if woven from starlight itself. Daniel froze. His breath caught in his throat. The woman spoke, and her voice was both gentle and powerful, echoing inside his mind. "You have entered the chamber of the bound one," she said. "I am the keeper of wishes. I am the genie." Daniel blinked, trying to understand. A genie. Those were stories told in old books, not living beings. But here she stood, real and radiant before him. She raised her hand, and the silver pool rippled, like water touched by wind. "By ancient law, the first who steps into this chamber may claim 3 wishes," she continued. "3 desires, spoken by your heart, shall be granted by my power." Daniel could not believe it. 3 wishes? Anything? His heart raced. He thought of wealth, of power, of escape from his lonely wandering. But the genie's eyes locked onto him, calm yet serious. "There is a price," she warned. "Every wish shapes destiny. Every wish takes more than it gives. Choose wisely, human." The chamber grew silent. The hum of the walls faded, leaving only the sound of Daniel's breath. He stared at the genie, his mind racing. He felt the weight of her words pressing on his chest. Most people, he thought, would wish for riches, for strength, for eternal life. But Daniel was not like most people. He had lost much, and he carried pain that no treasure could heal. The genie waited, her glowing hands resting above the pool, ready to release her power. Daniel closed his eyes. For a long moment, he was silent. Then he spoke. His voice was low, but firm. "My first wish." The genie leaned forward, her expression calm, expecting another common desire. But as Daniel's words filled the chamber, her eyes widened. The glow of her skin flickered. Her silver hair stopped moving as if frozen. No one, in all the centuries she had existed, had ever asked for this. His words cut through her, shaking the foundation of her duty. "You," she whispered, her voice trembling for the first time. "You cannot mean that. Do you understand what you are asking?" Daniel nodded slowly, his face pale but steady. "I do." The genie's hands trembled above the pool. For the first time in her long existence, she felt fear, not of him but of what his wish might unleash. The golden light around the chamber dimmed, as if the cave itself was holding its breath. Outside, the stars burned brighter, and the wind carried an unfamiliar chill. The genie's eyes locked on Daniel, searching for hesitation, for doubt, but she found none. His human determination was sharper than steel, unshaken by her warning. She finally whispered, her voice echoing with disbelief. "Your first wish, it changes everything." The pool rippled violently, throwing sparks of light against the cave walls. The chamber shook and Daniel felt the ground tremble beneath his feet. He stood firm, his heart pounding. The genie raised both hands, fighting to control the ancient energy now forced to obey. She glared at him, part anger, part awe. "You are not like the others," she said, "and because of this wish, the universe will never be the same." The light grew brighter, filling every corner of the cave until Daniel could no longer see. The last thing he heard before the blinding glow consumed him was her whisper, "This is only the beginning." The light in the cave slowly faded. The air grew still once more and Daniel opened his eyes. The chamber around him had changed. The walls no longer glowed with warm gold, but shimmered with a cold silver light, as if the cave itself was uncertain of what had just happened. The genie floated above the silver pool, her glowing form trembling, as though she carried a burden too heavy to bear. Her face, once calm and unshaken, was filled with shock. For the first time in countless centuries, she had been caught unprepared. Daniel stood silent, watching her. He knew what he had asked. He knew it was not a simple wish. Yet his heart told him it was the right one. He did not desire riches or power. He did not crave eternal life. What he wanted was something deeper, something that broke the rules of her kind. The genie's voice echoed through the chamber, softer than before, almost broken. "Human, no one has ever dared to wish for this. You are asking me to do what should never be done." Her glowing hands moved nervously in the air and the silver pool below her rippled with violent energy. The cave groaned as if it carried pain in its very stone. Daniel raised his eyes to meet hers. "You said I had 3 wishes, and this is my first. I will not take it back." The genie stared at him, her eyes glowing brighter, her silver hair floating wildly. She had granted wishes of kings, thieves, and dreamers. Some had asked for gold, some for armies, some for immortality. All had been predictable, all had been selfish. But this was something else. This was dangerous. "You do not understand what you are touching," she whispered. "Your words have weight. Your wish reaches beyond you, beyond me, beyond even the stars." Daniel did not flinch. His heart was steady, though his body trembled in the heavy air. "I understand enough. I have nothing left to lose. If I can change fate, even for a moment, then let it be so." The genie closed her eyes, her glowing body pulsing with waves of light. She was bound by law, bound by the chains of her ancient oath. She could not deny him. His wish, spoken clearly, was already woven into the threads of destiny. With a deep sigh, she lifted her hands above her head. The pool erupted, sending streams of light spinning through the chamber like living comets. The cave shook, rocks falling from the ceiling, but the genie's power held them back. Her voice rose strong and fierce, though filled with sorrow. "By the laws of the bound, by the chains of eternity, by the will of the stars, I grant your first wish." The chamber exploded with light. Daniel shielded his eyes, but even through closed lids he could feel the brightness pressing against him. The air roared with strange voices, whispers in languages no human had ever known. The ground beneath him vibrated like a living heart. When the light finally calmed, the genie sank lower. Her strength weakened, her hands trembled, and her glowing form flickered like a candle in the wind. She looked at Daniel with eyes both fearful and curious. "It is done," she said softly. "But do not believe this brings peace. Your wish has awoken forces that have slept for ages. Already they are watching. Already they are moving." Daniel frowned. "Who is watching?" The genie turned her gaze upward, toward the roof of the cave as if she could see beyond the stone, beyond the stars. Her voice was heavy. "There are guardians of law, beings older than me. They will come. They will not forgive. Your wish has broken the silence of the universe, and now they will hunt you." A chill swept across Daniel's spine. The air felt colder, sharper, as though unseen eyes had already found him. Still, he did not regret his choice. "Let them come," he said firmly. "I will not run from what I believe." The genie studied him, her expression unreadable. Slowly she spoke, almost to herself. "You are different, human. Reckless, yet unyielding. Perhaps this is why your kind is feared." Daniel stood taller, though his hands shook. He did not know what kind of beings she spoke of, nor how powerful they were. But he knew one thing. He had chosen a path that no one else dared to walk. The genie floated closer, her glowing face inches from his. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Your wish binds us together now. My fate is tied to yours. If you fall, I fall. If they take you, they take me too. Do you understand what this means?" Daniel met her gaze. "Then we face it together." For the first time, the genie's expression softened. A flicker of something human appeared in her glowing eyes. Doubt, fear, and perhaps a spark of respect. But before she could speak again, the chamber shuddered violently. A low rumble shook the ground. The silver pool turned black, its surface boiling like fire. A sound filled the cave, deep and hollow, like the growl of a beast far away but moving closer. The genie's face turned pale. "They have heard it," she whispered. "The hunters are coming." Daniel clenched his fists, standing firm in the trembling cave. His wish was granted, but the price was only beginning. And above, far beyond the cave, in the silent darkness of space, a shadow stirred. The cave walls continued to tremble long after the echoing roar faded into silence. Dust fell from the ceiling, scattering across the silver pool. Daniel stood still, his heart pounding, but his eyes steady. He had made his first wish, and though its weight pressed heavily on him, he would not turn back. The genie hovered close, her glowing form flickering like a lantern in storm winds. Her voice was calm, yet her tone carried deep unease. "The wish is complete," she said softly, "but its power will not rest quietly. It has awakened what should have remained asleep." Daniel looked around. The once bright chamber now seemed darker, its silver light replaced with cold shadows. He felt a strange heaviness in his chest, as though invisible chains had wrapped around his heart. His body felt stronger in some ways, yet weaker in others. It was as if the wish had taken something from him, though he could not yet name what. "What did it cost me?" he asked. The genie's eyes met his, glowing like two suns dimmed by clouds. "Every wish carries a price. Sometimes the price is hidden, revealed only when it is too late. You wished for something beyond gold, beyond power. The universe does not give freely, it always takes in return." Daniel's hands clenched into fists. He had expected pain, perhaps danger, but now he realized the cost was deeper than he had imagined. As he stood in silence, a sound stirred outside the cave. A low hum, sharp and metallic, carried on the wind. The genie's head snapped toward the entrance, her silver hair rising as if pulled by unseen forces. "They are here," she whispered. "The hunters." Daniel stepped forward, his eyes narrowing. "Who are they?" "They are guardians," she explained, her voice trembling. "Beings bound to protect the laws I have broken by granting your wish. They come when the balance of destiny is disturbed, and you, human, you have disturbed it more than anyone before you." The sound grew louder. Machines, engines, alien craft descending through the night sky. The air shook with their approach. Daniel's chest tightened. He had no weapons, no army, nothing but his will. Still, he refused to retreat. "Let them come, I will face them." The genie turned her glowing face toward him, her expression a mix of sorrow and admiration. "You are brave, but bravery may not be enough. These hunters do not show mercy. To them you are not a man, you are a threat that must be erased." The hum grew into a roar. The ground shook as shadows crossed the cave entrance. A beam of light swept across the chamber, blinding and cold. Daniel shielded his eyes. The genie raised her hand, creating a shimmering barrier of silver light. Sparks danced across the walls as the barrier absorbed the energy. Her voice rang clear. "They will not wait long. They will strike soon. And when they do, the true price of your wish will reveal itself. Daniel felt anger rise inside him. He had made his choice, and he would not regret it. But the idea that others, strangers from beyond the stars, could decide his fate filled him with fire. What if I fight them? He asked Dot. The genie's glowing eyes locked on his. Then you risk everything. Their power is vast, far beyond human strength. But she hesitated, her voice dropping. Your wish has given you something. I do not yet understand it, but I can feel it within you. If you fight, it may awaken. Daniel's pulse quickened. His body still felt strange, heavier yet stronger, as if a sleeping force inside him was waiting to be called. Outside comma. The roar of the hunter's engines grew deafening. Shadows stretched across the cave walls as tall figures appeared at the entrance. Their forms were dark, armored, and inhuman. Their glowing eyes pierced the silver light of the barrier. The genie's voice hardened. They are here. The hunters stepped forward, their voices booming like thunder. Genie of the bound law, one declared. You have broken the sacred order. You granted a wish forbidden by the stars. Surrender the human or be destroyed with him. Daniel stood tall, his jaw set. He felt the chains in his chest tighten, but at the same time, a strange fire burned within him. He looked at the genie, then back at the hunters. No, he said firmly. I will not be surrendered. The hunters raised their weapons, their armor glowing with deadly energy. The cave shook as power gathered in their hands. The genie's barrier flared, barely holding. She turned to Daniel, her voice sharp. You must decide quickly. If you fight, the wish within you will awaken fully. But once it awakens, there is no turning back. The price will grow heavier, and the danger greater. Daniel clenched his fists. He could feel it now. Power stirring deep inside him. Power not his own, born from the wish he had demanded. It was waiting, eager, like a sleeping beast ready to rise. The hunters stepped closer, their weapons glowing brighter. The genie's barrier began to crack. Daniel drew a deep breath, his eyes fixed on the figures before him. If this is the price, he whispered, then I will pay it. The genie's eyes widened. The barrier shattered. And in that instant, the fire within Daniel erupted. The cave blazed with sudden fire. Daniel's body shook as power erupted from deep within him. It was wild, untamed, and heavy, like carrying a storm inside his chest. His hands glowed faintly, his skin burning with marks that looked like ancient symbols. The hunters stopped in their tracks. Their glowing weapons dimmed for a moment as if they sensed something unexpected. One tilted its armored head, its hollow voice filled with suspicion. This is no ordinary human. What have you done, Genie? The genie floated beside Daniel, her silver form trembling as she stared at him. She had seen thousands of wishes granted. She had watched mortals turn greedy, kings demand empires, and fools chase immortality. But never had she seen this. Never had she felt such raw energy awaken in a human. Daniel's breath came fast, his eyes burning with light. He felt stronger than ever before, but the weight of it pressed on his body. His heart pounded like a war drum, and his thoughts blurred under the rush of alien force. The genie's voice shook. Stop, Daniel. Do not let it consume you. This power is not meant for human hands. But Daniel clenched his fists tighter. I asked for it, I will carry it. The hunters stepped closer, their voices booming together. You have broken the balance. The first wish has cursed you both. The law will not forgive this. They raised their weapons again, beams of blue, fire cutting through the cave. Daniel moved without thinking. His glowing hands shot forward, and the blast curved away, striking the walls instead. Rock shattered, and the chamber groaned under the force. For a moment, silence returned. Daniel stared at his hands in shock. He had not even known how he did that. It was instinct, like breathing. The genie hovered closer, her glowing eyes locked on him. Her voice was low, filled with fear. You must hear the truth, Daniel. There is something I never told you, something no human was ever meant to know. Daniel turned, his face pale but steady. Tell me. The chamber dimmed as her voice echoed. I am not a spirit of magic. I am not from stories of old lamps or human myths. I am an alien being, bound by ancient laws. My kind was created by the architects, beings who shaped the stars before your species was even born. We were designed to serve, to grant wishes, to test mortals. But the truth is darker. Her silver hair floated like smoke in the still air. Every wish feeds the architect's design. Each one is a thread in a vast web shaping destinies across galaxies. But your wish, Daniel, your wish did not follow their plan. You asked for something forbidden, something that pulls against their design. And that is why the hunters have come. They are not just enforcers, they are executioners. Daniel's heart pounded harder. He looked at the hunters, their glowing armor, their unyielding eyes. He could feel the truth in her words. He had challenged something much greater than himself. The Genie continued, her voice breaking. I am bound to you now. Your fate and mine are tied. If you fall, I fall. If they destroy you, they destroy me as well. But know this. If your power grows uncontrolled, it could burn worlds. Even you will not survive its full weight. Daniel's jaw tightened. He had not asked for safety, nor for comfort. He had asked for change, for a wish that mattered. Then I will control it, he said firmly. I don't care what it takes. Genie shook her head slowly. You speak with courage, but you do not yet understand. Control is not given. It is taken. And to take it, you must face the truth of yourself. Before Daniel could answer, the hunters moved again. Their leader's voice echoed like thunder. Enough words. The law has been broken. The human must die. They unleashed a storm of blue fire. The Genie raised her hands, summoning a barrier of silver light. Daniel, without thinking, added his own force. His glowing marks flared, and the energy curved, deflected, and twisted back toward the hunter's dot. The chamber exploded with shock waves. Stone cracked, dust filled the air, and the hunters staggered back, their armor scorched. The Genie turned to Daniel, her expression filled with awe and terror. You see now? The wish has given you power to defy them. But every time you use it, the cost will grow heavier. Already I feel the chains tightening. Daniel frowned. Chains? She lifted her glowing hands, showing faint cracks of darkness spreading across her skin. My life force is tied to yours. Each time you use the wish, it drains us both. If you keep fighting like this, I may not survive. And without me, your power will turn wild and destroy you. Daniel's breath caught. He had not known his choices would hurt her too. Yet even with fear gnawing at him, his resolve did not weaken. He looked into her glowing eyes and spoke with steady voice. Then we survived together. The Genie's gaze softened, as if his words struck something deep within her. But before she could reply, the hunters regrouped, their weapons burning, hotter. The leader pointed its blade of light toward them. You cannot escape. This world will be your grave, the Genie whispered urgently. We must leave, Daniel. Your wish has given you strength, but not enough to face them all. Not yet. Daniel hesitated. His heart burned with defiance, but he could see the cracks spreading across her glowing form. If he pushed further now, she might break. He nodded. Then we run, but only for now. The Genie raised her hands, summoning a circle of silver fire. The ground shook and light swirled around them. The hunters charged, weapons blazing, but too late. The circle expanded, swallowing Daniel and the Genie in a burst of light. The last thing Daniel saw before vanishing was the furious glow of the hunter's eyes, filled with the promise of relentless pursuit. The desert night stretched, wide and endless. Daniel and the Genie reappeared in a burst of silver light, stumbling onto the dry sand far from the cave. The stars above glimmered coldly, but there was no comfort in them. The air itself seemed to hold its breath, as if the world knew what was coming. Daniel's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. The marks on his skin still glowed faintly, but the fire within him had calmed for the moment. He looked at the genie. Her silver form flickered weakly, cracks of darkness spreading across her glowing arms. "You're hurt," Daniel said quickly. She shook her head, though her face revealed the pain she carried. "It is the cost of your wish. When you fight, I bleed. When you rise, I weaken. We are bound now, whether we want it or not." Daniel clenched his fists. Guilt burned inside him, but so did determination. "Then I'll fight carefully. I won't let you break." Before she could answer, the ground began to shake. A deep hum filled the air, the sound of engines powerful and cold. Daniel turned, his heart pounding. In the distance, streaks of blue fire cut through the night sky. The hunters had found them. The genie's eyes widened. "They will not stop. They will follow us until one of us is gone." Daniel stood tall, his shadow stretched across the sand. "Then they'll have to face me." Moments later, the sky tore open. A massive craft descended, black and sharp like a blade. Its engines roared as it hovered above the desert. From its belly, beams of light cut down to the ground. One by one, armored hunters stepped out, their glowing weapons drawn. Their eyes, cold and burning, locked on Daniel. The leader stepped forward, its voice like grinding stone. "Human, you carry forbidden power. Surrender now, and your end will be quick. Resist, and both you and the genie will suffer." Daniel's jaw tightened. He could feel the power inside him stir, restless and eager. The genie hovered beside him, whispering urgently, "You cannot face them all, not yet. If you fight with full strength now, you will burn yourself, and me with you." Daniel glanced at her, then back at the hunters. His voice was calm but fierce. "I won't surrender, not to them." The leader raised its weapon. The hunters moved as one, their steps shaking the ground. Daniel braced himself. His marks flared, brighter, filling his body with heat. But before he could unleash it, the genie raised her hand. Silver fire spun into a barrier, curving around them like a shield. The hunters fired. Blue beams struck the barrier, exploding in sparks. The ground shook under the storm of light. Daniel stood inside the shield, his fists glowing, his heart pounding like thunder. The genie strained, her face tight with pain. "I cannot hold this for long, they are too many." Daniel's eyes narrowed. He could not stand behind her while she suffered. He stepped forward, placing his glowing hand against the barrier. At once, silver and gold light fused together, and the shield grew stronger. The hunters faltered, their beams bending away. The leader tilted its head, studying Daniel with something close to curiosity. "You fight like one of us," it said, "but you are only human. Your body will not last." Daniel's voice was steady. "Maybe, but I'll last long enough." The leader raised its blade, glowing with deadly light. "Then you choose death?" With a roar, the hunters charged. The barrier shattered. Daniel moved, faster than he thought possible. His glowing fist slammed into the ground and a wave of energy burst outward. Sand exploded, knocking several hunters off their feet. Their armor sparked and cracked. Though they rose again with mechanical precision. The genie hovered above, summoning bolts of silver fire. She struck 2 hunters down, their armor smoking, but each attack deepened the cracks on her glowing body. Her strength was fading. Daniel fought on, his movements wild but powerful. He deflected beams with his glowing arms, struck hunters with explosive force, and forced them back again and again. But each strike drained him. His body ached, his heart burned, and the invisible chains pulled tighter with every blow. Still, he refused to stop. The hunters surrounded them, their voices echoing together. "You cannot escape, human. The law demands your end." Daniel staggered, sweat dripping down his face. His marks flickered weakly, but his spirit burned stronger than ever. "Then come and try." The genie's voice rang sharp. "No, Daniel. If you push further, you will kill us both. You must save your strength." But Daniel's gaze locked on the leader, standing tall and unshaken. He knew the battle would never end until he faced it. The leader raised its glowing blade and pointed at him. One last chance, kneel or fall. Daniel stepped forward, his body trembling but his voice steady. I'll never kneel. The hunters raised their weapons again. The genie's eyes widened. She could feel the second wish burning on his lips, ready to be spoken. Daniel. No. She whispered. But his voice rang through the desert like thunder. My second wish. The hunters froze, the air trembling with power. Is now. The desert fell silent for one long heartbeat. The hunters froze, their weapons glowing but unmoving, as Daniel's words carried across the night. The genie's eyes widened, her glowing form trembling. She knew what was coming, and she feared it more than the blades of the hunters. My second wish, Daniel repeated, his voice firm though his body shook with exhaustion. The leader tilted its armored head, its hollow voice deep and cold. You would use another wish? Human, you do not understand the fire you hold. Daniel ignored the warning. His gaze was fixed on the genie, her glowing silver form cracked and weakening. He clenched his fists, his marks blazing faintly. His chest burned with the weight of power he could barely control. My second wish, he said at last, is that no matter what comes against us, you will not fall, you will not break, you will not be taken from me. The words cut through the desert like a blade. The genie gasped, her glowing hands rising to her chest as if to hold her heart. No one had ever wished such a thing. Men had wished for wealth, kingdoms, or eternal life, but never for the life of the genie herself. Daniel, she whispered, her voice breaking. The air shuddered. The marks on Daniel's skin blazed brighter, searing his flesh with fire. The silver pool of light that always followed the genie erupted, wrapping around her like armor. Her cracks sealed, her glow burned stronger than before. Power surged through her being, not her own but bound from his wish. The hunters staggered back, their weapons flickering. The leader growled. This is forbidden. The genie is bound to law, not to mortal desire. You have corrupted her with your words. Daniel's voice thundered across the battlefield. Then so be it. She will live no matter the cost. The genie's eyes glowed brighter than stars, but inside she trembled. His wish had saved her, yes, but at a terrible price. She could feel it. His life was now tied to hers even deeper, every heartbeat, every breath. If she grew stronger, it drained him. If she endured, it chained his fate. The hunters roared in unison and charged again. The genie moved first. She raised her hands and silver fire erupted in great arcs, striking the ground with explosions that shook the desert. The hunters scattered, their armor cracking under the storm. Her power was stronger now, wild and fierce. Daniel stumbled but did not fall. He felt his strength weaken as hers grew, yet he pushed forward. His fists glowed golden, his body moving, like a storm. Together they struck as one, human and genie bound in battle. For the first time the hunters faltered. Their leader raised its blade, blocking Daniel's glowing strike, but the impact shook the desert. Sand lifted like waves, and the night sky split with light. The leader hissed, You have chained yourselves together. Foolish human. When you fall, she will fall too. You cannot escape the law. Daniel gritted his teeth, forcing the blade back. Then we'll change the law. The genie hurled a final storm of silver fire, knocking several hunters to the ground. Their armor smoked, their glowing eyes flickered, and silence followed as the survivors retreated back toward their ship. The leader lingered for a moment, its cold gaze fixed on Daniel. This is not over, it said. The architects will not forgive. Others will come stronger than us, and when they do, your wishes will destroy you. Then the hunters vanished into the night sky, their ship burning upward into the stars. The desert was quiet again. Daniel dropped to his knees, his body trembling. His marks glowed faintly, but his strength was nearly gone. The genie hovered above him, her glowing form radiant, stronger than ever, but her expression filled with sorrow. Why? She whispered. Why would you waste your wish on me? Daniel looked up at her, his breathing heavy but steady. Because you matter. Because I will not watch you fade for my choices. If I must burn, then I burn, but you will live. Her glowing eyes softened, her voice shaking. You do not understand what you have done. You have broken me free from law, yes. But you have tied your very soul to mine. If you fall, Daniel, I will not survive either. And if I am destroyed, so will you. We are one now. Daniel's lips curved in a faint smile. Then we fight as one. The genie hovered silently. Her heart stirred in ways she had never known. In all her endless years, no one had wished for her life, her freedom, her survival. Mortals saw her only as a tool. But Daniel had seen her as more. Before she could answer, a low rumble rolled across the sky. Far above, beyond the stars, a shadow stirred. Larger ships moved in the darkness, vast and heavy. The hunters had not lied, others were coming. Stronger ones. The genie's glow dimmed with unease. They will not stop, Daniel. Your wishes have torn the web of destiny. The architects themselves will move to end this. Daniel pushed himself to his feet. His fist clenched, though his body swayed. His voice was steady. Then let them come. I still have one wish left. The genie shivered, knowing that single wish could change not only their lives but the entire universe. And as the stars above flickered with the approach of something vast and terrible, she wondered whether Daniel's final choice would save them, or doom them both forever. The desert was quiet after the hunters fled, but the silence was heavy, like the calm before a great storm. Above the night sky, the stars shifted. New lights appeared, not natural stars, but vast ships gliding into orbit. They were enormous, black against the sky, each carrying the weight of ancient power. Daniel stood on the sand, his body weak, his marks glowing faintly like fading embers. The genie hovered beside him, her glow bright but her face troubled. She could feel it. The architects themselves were near, the ones who had created her kind, the keepers of the law of wishes. A deep vibration rolled through the air. The ground trembled under their feet. Then, with a sound like cracking stone, a beam of light cut down from the heavens. It struck the desert floor and opened into a towering gate of energy. From it, figures stepped through. They were tall, robed, in shifting light, their faces hidden beneath masks of shadow and flame. Their voices were not spoken but echoed in the mind, heavy and sharp. Human, they said as one. You have broken the order of the universe. You demanded forbidden wishes. You bound the genie to your fate. For this crime there is only one punishment, the erasure of your existence. Daniel's fists tightened, though his body shook. His voice, however, did not falter. I will not kneel. I will not regret what I wished. The genie's glow flickered as she moved closer, whispering urgently, Daniel, these are not hunters. They are the source. They are the ones who gave me power. We cannot defeat them. If you fight, your soul itself may burn. Daniel looked at her, his breathing heavy. Then tell me the truth. Do you want to live free? Do you want to be more than their tool? Her glowing eyes widened. She had never been asked that. For all her endless years, no one had cared. No one had seen her as anything but a giver of power. And now this human, fragile yet unyielding, was offering her freedom. Yes, she whispered. I want to live. I want to choose. Daniel turned back to the towering figures. His voice rang across the desert. Then I know my final wish. The architects loomed closer, their shadows stretching across the sand. Their voices thundered. No wish can undo our law. Your final words will be your end. But Daniel raised his head high. His marks blazed once more, brighter than ever before. His voice cut through their power like steel. My third wish is that she is free. No chains, no laws, no masters. Her life is her own. The desert exploded with light. The genie gasped. her entire body trembling as silver flames erupted around her. The chains she had carried unseen for ages shattered, breaking into sparks that fell across the sand. Her glow grew brighter, purer, stronger than ever before. The architects recoiled. Their voices shook with fury. This is impossible. No mortal has the right to grant freedom to our kind. But it was too late. The wish was spoken, and the universe itself bent to it. The genie's form shifted, her glow rising higher, her silver hair turning into a storm of light. She was no longer bound. She was no longer theirs. Daniel collapsed to his knees, his body weak, his marks fading. The price of the final wish weighed on him, draining everything he had left. The genie caught him in her arms, her voice trembling. "Daniel, you gave your last wish for me. Why?" He smiled faintly, his breath shallow. "Because you deserved it. Because no one should live in chains." Tears of light filled her glowing eyes. She held him tightly as the architects thundered with rage. They raised their hands ready to strike, but the genie lifted her head. "No," she said. Her voice was no longer bound, no longer soft. It was vast, filled with power older than stars. "I am not yours anymore." She raised her hands and silver fire erupted, colliding with the architect's force. The desert shook, the sky split, and for the first time, the beings of law faltered. Their forms cracked under her light, their masks shattering into dust. With one final cry, they vanished into the void, broken and gone. Silence fell. The sky cleared, the desert calm once more. The genie looked down at Daniel, still holding him, close. His eyes were half closed, his strength nearly gone. But his smile remained. "You're free now," he whispered. She pressed her glowing forehead to his, her voice soft. "And I am yours, Daniel. Not by chains, but by choice." The desert, wind carried their words into the night. Above, the stars shone brighter, no longer watching with cold judgment, but as if celebrating a freedom long denied. Daniel closed his eyes, his body weak, but his spirit unbroken. The genie's light wrapped around him, not as a prison, but as a promise. Together, they had defied law, faced hunters, and broken the will of the architects. Together, they had changed destiny. And as the night stretched onward, one truth remained: humanity's heart, the courage to fight for freedom. To see worth in others was a power greater than any wish.